Hi, this is Don Matteo, and you are listening to the Ought to Know Better podcast. Let's do this.
Leeds are shit.
We're recording, you know.
Oh, shit.
We had a good start. I don't think we've got the personnel.
You can fucking laugh all you want, you absolute bellend.
I think about things. That's why you lot are idiots.
A melted version of a dick that's been shrink wrapped.
The absolute elite shithousery of this.
Hello, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Berardi and Cook, the post-match show from the Ought to Know Better podcast. I'm Smarty. I'm here, not at 3:20 a.m., but at 10 a.m. And I'm joined by the follically challenged one, Mr. Gill. How are you? Are you well this morning?
I am towards the bottom of my first coffee, so I am becoming human, or at least slightly feeling that way. It is an early doors one. Normally we're half 10, 11 o'clock, so it's slightly earlier, but yeah,
get out of the way. Get out of the way. So you got the day ahead of you. You don't have to muck around.
Yeah, but I'm in garden. I'm not.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a nice day.
What on earth? What on earth are you in the garden for? It's still raining and miserable.
I'm doing a slight little bit of landscaping at the back of my garden.
Oh, yeah. You're getting your tools out. You're getting your big boy tools out, are you? Morning, everybody in the chat. I can see you. No,
don't gloss over it. Tell the boys and girls what you did again.
Yeah, I'm right. Okay, so, but there's a reason. I was out last night. I'd had a couple of ales, and I decided I'm going to be proactive, and I'm going to set the pod up early, so I don't have to do it first thing in the morning. You know, when you're grogging, you can't be asked. But unknowingly, set it up for 3:30 in the morning. So there you go. So apologies to those people that might have been coming home from a night out or might have been a night shift or whatever and thought, fucking hell, here we go, lads, this is what we're talking about. Bit of a late night Berardi and Cook. Unfortunately, that did not happen. Again,
White Snake thought it had been just set up for him. He thought,
White Snake.
Wasn't this at a normal time of day for me?
Yeah, White Snake were absolutely buzzing. First in the mentions, telling us that we'd fucked up or telling me that I'd fucked up. So apologies, I had to reset it for 10 o'clock this morning. So I'm sure no one's day was ruined. In fact, I doubt most people even know. So morning, everyone else. We can see Gilly will fly through a couple of comments down there and highlight them. Right, so Leeds United 3, Nottingham Forest 1. Before we get into talking about the game, do you remember how you felt going into the game and what was your prediction for the game after our performance against Arsenal?
Yeah, so I think that's a little bit anomalous. You know, that piece. You can't really set much store by what happens against a side like that, really, for me. But equally, we've lost 9-0 on aggregate against them, and I don't think they've been particularly good. No. You know, they're very, very effective, but that's not football that I would enjoy watching week in, week out. Now, if it wins in the league after such a long time, and you know, if it gets them to a Champions League final, whatever else, fine. And like I say, it is effective. But I don't think you can set much store by it anyway, because although they play like early 90s Wimbledon, they do so with a squad of inordinate expense that's gone on. So yeah, I don't.
Inordinate expense is a very delicate way of putting it.
Yeah,
the stupid amount of money spent on players. Yeah. £500 million squad.
I don't think there's unrest. That's the scary bit, isn't it? You know. So yeah, I don't think that's not our yardstick this season, is it? And I think coming into Forest have spent an inordinate amount of money as well, but they're an absolute basket case of a club. Marinakis got them into Europe, but they absolutely shat the bed. Got rid of Nuno, who's a very good manager, and that in itself, I thought had already come back to bite them, but will come back to bite them ever so much more if it's West Ham that stay up at the expense of Forest. That would be an extraordinary turnaround for him personally, I'm sure. And then Ange, all of those bits. And then to bring in Dyche, and if he doesn't keep them up, which is really the only reason to bring them in, bring Dyche and his team in. So I don't think there's too much store you can set by the Arsenal result or match in any way, really. Coming into it, I was cautious because of the importance of the game, given the context and the points that we're on, the points that they're on, the fact that West Ham were playing Burnley and were almost certainly, 99.99% likely to get all 3 points because Burnley are shite and they've thrown the towel in. The context of the game was all important. So I think I was trepidatious on that basis, just around that context.
You swallowed a thesaurus last night, have you?
But really, I thought that we were going to win. So what I had in my mind was a 2-1. It's going to be quite a tight game. They're probably going to cancel each other out a little bit because they don't want to give anything away, especially earlier on in the match. And so that's where I was in mind until I saw the lineups. And when I saw the lineups, and you see, well, our lineup, to be fair, I thought, I'm gonna mention it, even though I'm gonna come under some stick because of the comments I've made recently. I thought Arrington had been a little bit more off the boil recently, more about his level of output than anything else. And definitely within an hour, we'd been seeing quite a big drop off, and I was thinking, is that the right choice? Could we bring Longstaff in and he's going to have a lot more of an impact? He's also very, very experienced at this level, and he's not going to let the occasion get to him in case it is that cagey encounter, and we need to be a bit savvy and game management and all of that sort of stuff. That's our Gruev picked, and I'm thinking, we're at home. Why are we being defensive? We'll come on to that and what that actually means in terms of my footballing opinions. But I was saying, are we setting up too defensively? We've got Ampadu in there that's perfectly capable of doing that job on his own, like Calvin used to. So do we really need that double pivot that Gruev would be? So I'm looking at the side and I'm thinking, I feel like we could be more attacking than this, and I'm hoping that doesn't come back to bite us. So if you'd have asked me at the point of kickoff, that 2-1 had probably become a 1-1, 2-1 at that point, because I'm thinking, have we set up wrong?
Yeah, no, I agree. Although I do like Gruev, I think he does offer some good cover. I know a lot of fans were a bit like, "Ooh, should we be a bit more attacking?" But I think before we came into this game, I did expect them to be quite defensive. And from the kickoff, the fact that no one attacked Kyle Darlow, no one even approached within 30 or 40 yards of him. Yeah. Kind of, I was like, right, this is going to be a bit of a slog. Is this, not to a degree where back in the Championship we were absolutely hammering teams for an hour on end and getting nowhere. We do have that magical little cloud that likes to float above all the rest and nod some goals in Mr. Calvert-Lewin. So we do have that extra option now. But I did think, this might be a little bit of a slog, and it didn't really turn out to be as Dyche ball as I expected. They tested Darlow a couple of times in the first half with some very, very good attempts. Actually, I think I can't remember who made him dive to his left low, and I can't remember the guy, the lad who swung a nice curling little effort into the top left corner, which Darlow got to. But I don't really remember them, really causing that much of an issue for us. They only seem to have one striker playing up there on his own, and some quality deliveries in and stuff. But really, on a whole, they didn't really lay a glove on us, Forest, apart from looking dangerous in a couple of occasions. But really, that first half, we absolutely dominated them. Really, from what I thought we did. I'll ping the old graph up, momentum graph, because it shows a slightly different story. I don't remember them having two quite large periods in the first half. I thought we pretty much dominated the whole lot. So
that initial period around, 12 to 15 minutes or so,
yeah.
So before that, we were getting so much joy on the left.
Yes.
Because every time Okafor and Gabby got the ball, it was like they had the beating of the man every single time, and they were getting inside. Yeah. Gabby made some very, very good incisive runs into box with the ball around his man at the byline, and you're thinking, oh, it needs somebody at front post. Just get somebody.
Yeah.
Calvert-Lewin is there to do that job, and it were almost like it had slightly come a little bit too early. Like maybe we'd not got ourselves set or what have you. But that 12 to 15 minute period was the only period in the game when Gibbs White looked like he were up for it.
Yeah.
And I think that there's an element there where, he wanted the ball. He was demanding the ball. He was making the runs. The ball wasn't coming how he wanted it to, and he was getting frustrated with his teammates. And I think at that point in time, if you give him the service that he wants, he's gonna score your goals, or he's gonna set something up. He's got the capability. I think he's their best player, and he's got the ability to shape and change a game. And if they'd played to his strengths and what he wanted at that time, I think they could have got a bit of joy from this game. But there were a couple. So I think that bit that you're talking about was there were a nothing effort, a little bit hopeful, but it were blocked. And then there were another block, and then one of their lads tried to shape a shot around. Was it around Gruev? But it were about 4 or 5 yards away from him, and he shaped it around it, and Darlow made a really good save and went out for a corner. So I think in that period, if they'd have been able to be a little bit more incisive against us, the first goal in this game was absolutely crucial. If they'd have got the first goal in this game, we'd have all got, because I thought the atmosphere was pretty good, but it had gone flat almost straight away. And we'd have been chewing our fingernails. Again, just because of the context of the game, not because of what was happening in the game.
No, I know what you're saying.
How important it is.
Yeah. Although, I don't know. If it would have been a 3 o'clock kickoff, I would have agreed. Like, absolutely, hands down.
Yeah,
but because it's a late kickoff, and because we've seen many, many things happen in the evenings, as you know, so for some reason, you know, a late kickoff at Elland Road is cringe but magical. It is. I don't know what it is about it. And obviously our record in the evening kickoff slots is quite impeccable, actually. And we have got a couple of...
He loves it as well, doesn't he?
At home. Yeah, he does. Yeah. I don't know what it is under the lights at Elland Road. It's just crazy. But, on a whole then, the performance, let's talk about a few of the goals. DCL was obviously unlucky to not score with a header in the first half.
And isn't that 4 games in a row that is it woodwork now as well?
Could be. Dodo says something similar. He says DCL's header off the bat had more pace on it than a lot of the actual shots do when kicked. Frightening. I mean, it wore an absolute belter, wasn't it? That was. I don't know. Were you at the game? I can't remember if you.
Yeah, I went in cheese.
So when obviously they replayed it on the big screen, their fans decided to give it when it dinked the chuffing crossbar. And I thought, I hope to God we score.
We had a little bit of fun with that, didn't we?
Because we will make this fucking hell for those people. And we did, because when we eventually did score from a lovely through ball, well, I say through ball, a lovely looped ball, and the way that Gruev hit that ball as well, I've seen it slowed down, and obviously he just gets it nicely under. I'm just, kicking the frig out of my mic here. Just nicely underneath that ball to generate a lot of backspin, just so it just nicely just spins back and just stops it going too far forward for Bogle, who appeared out of nowhere. I thought it was DCL at first, but that's not Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Where the friggin' hell's Bogle come from? So I've obviously seen the replay. He's just beeline straight from behind their left back. Their left back has just completely left him on his own. He's snuck round. I thought he was offside originally because I'm looking for Lino as people are raining down on me. I'm like, is there a flag? Is there a flag? Bogle with an absolutely beautiful left foot finish, and I just thought, fucking brilliant. So the assists were fantastic. The run and the finish were just brilliant as well. And I thought, here we go. And then obviously the vision from Duo. Oh yeah, well that's it exactly. So like, 3 times we got that. You should have seen their faces. We had a bit of a laugh. We had a bit of a laugh with them. We're like, oh yeah, fair dues or whatever. But
it's a long way down when you're shitting it.
Their faces were as smiley as ours when we were doing it for the 3rd time. I can tell you that for free. But the second goal, the shot obviously was blocked, and then Justin had the foresight to lay it off to Okafor, who stuck a tidy one away. Eve played very, very well today. Sorry, on Friday night. Do you think?
Which one?
Okafor?
I thought they both really did.
Well, no, yeah, they did. Yeah, I'm just going with Okafor.
You are
a little
right.
bit.
Yeah, no, you are right. I thought they look worried about him. He's got such quick feet, and they were standing off him, and actually that's what they want. If you're up against him, I don't think he's got that. He's got it, but he's not as strong if a man's playing up against him to roll and go from there.
Yeah.
If you stand off him, he's got you where he wants you because he can go left, he can go right, and he turns people inside out, and they're clearly worried about him. And his feet are so quick that he's really difficult to read. So yeah, I thought. I mean, just touch on the Bogle. I mean, what a cool finish! Left foot, cool finish. Didn't look at all. Knew exactly where he was and what he were doing. And I don't know if you've seen it, but that was pre-planned. That was something. So. One, Gruev's done that before for Ramazani. I don't know if you've seen the replays.
Yes, he has.
Almost exactly the same goal.
Yeah.
And two, it has come directly from the training ground. They'd targeted that as a move that was going to bear fruit. So that's even more delicious, isn't it?
I did not know that. I did not know that.
Yeah, Graham covered it. Farker had been asked, and yeah, it'd come from the training ground.
I mean, really, with logically thinking, it'd have to be, because there's no way in God's earth should Bogle be flying up that high. At that point in the game, you would not expect a wing back or any sort of defensive player to be playing as a number 9 at that period of the game. So yeah. But now you said it.
But yeah, I mean, the backspin that he managed to, because it wasn't a lob because it didn't go high enough, but it wasn't driven because it wasn't low enough. It was kind of that middle bit. But so I don't really know how you would describe it, because it also wasn't with the instep. It was kind of almost with the outside of the laces.
Pretty much all laces, but he stabbed it. He just stabbed it, but generated enough trajectory, but enough backspin for it to go long. But fucking want to pass that one. He gets some right stick for being like a really not a shit player, because I don't think anyone's ever called him shit. I don't think so. I don't think I've ever seen anyone.
I think he's
one-dimensional.
He's good at what he does, but not necessarily outside of that. And that's the point I was making, and what I was saying we were coming on to, because I said, well, he's too defensive. Pops up, gets 2 assists.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to have a look now. Actually, there's a bit of a screenshot from a stat from Johnny. No, I nearly said Johnny Brown then. Johnny Cooper.
Johnny Brown.
In the
Let's
media.
have a look. Oh, is this Illy Gruev for Leeds United versus Nottingham Forest? Is the third player Opta has on record since 2003 to complete 25 plus passes, 43, have a pass accuracy of 98% or more, and register 2 assists in a Premier League match. Wow,
that is incredible, absolutely incredible. But you can see the assist pass there, right in the middle.
Yeah,
into box. It's just it's beautiful, and it's not a long punt. He's absolutely meant every bit of it. But to also have a passing accuracy of 98% plus, that's incredible. In that game, when you're thinking what we really need is somebody to step up, I did not expect that.
No,
so fair play to him.
I mean, he is a tidy player, and we've covered it before on the show when we've said, or I personally have said, you can see him moving around, you can see him directing people, and that's one of his strengths. I think a lot of the time does go unfortunately for him, unseen.
Yeah.
You can see him pointing fingers, you can see him managing players alongside obviously Ampadu, who's also doing the same, but he's the bulldog in the centre. Is Ampadu in it? Whereas Gruev's a little bit more nonchalant, shall we say? And he's incredible, and it does a lot of the work he does really does go unnoticed. But fair play to him. It's about time that he got some credit, some absolutely deserved credit as well.
Yeah, you'd moved us on to Justin, and I took us back to Gruev. I thought Justin's shot was a good one. I thought the save was all right. However, if you consider Darlow's save, he's made a good save, and it's gone out for a corner, and their lads made a good save, and it's gone straight back to Justin.
Yeah.
Now, so can you? I think that a keeper's got to do better than that. But it was a bit closer to him, and it was so. I can also see why that might have been a little bit more difficult. But it's gone straight back to Justin, and he's so cool that he's able to then just take a second and pick out Okafor, who, the ball came to him quite quickly, but he's in the middle of the goal with nobody anywhere near him. He's got to finish that, and he did. So there's a bit of pressure on that, because Okafor's not had the output that any of us are looking for over the past few games. And I think there were quite a few people saying, is Nonto worth a go? Should Okafor be starting?
Yeah. I've seen a lot of people slating him, saying it was shit and stuff like that. I was thinking that's a bit of a reach. He's calling him shit. Right. Yeah. Shit's not right. I mean, like you say, he is frustrating sometimes. He does lose the ball, but a lot of wingers do. That's what they're supposed to do. I think, well, that's it. That's when we play someone on the wing. I mean, we don't often play, wide players that much going forward anymore because we've got Goodmanson and Bogle, running in from the wing back positions and stuff. But just to see him, I mean, it can turn people into a frigging pretzel, can't it? I mean, some of the ways he gets around players is just like we haven't seen that for a long time. An out and out player that could just beat someone. Apart from Georgie, obviously, George used to do it, but it's just nice to be able to have that capability in the Premier League. And then Goodmanson as well. He just flies past people. He's actually quite comical in it. He absolutely roasted their right back on numerous occasions yesterday.
Yeah.
Funny.
We won yesterday, the day before, but yes.
I keep saying yesterday. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you do.
I keep forgetting him Friday night. Yeah.
But yeah. So I think one of the most delicious things about it is you look at Bogle and you look at the money spent and you look at what Sheffield United said about him. And the fact that we sent, we were talking about it last night, we sent Shaq the other way. And actually, I was quite disappointed to lose Shaq because Farke were using him. He was a decent member of the squad, albeit with big injury issues. But I was really happy to get Bogle because I did think that he looked good. He played in the Premier League for them. And I thought it looked decent. I did not think he was going to have the level of output that he's had since, but I was happy with that as a signing. But Sheffield United told us that he was shit, can't defend. Carl called him while watching Bogle right at the outset.
Bryn, obviously, Bryn absolutely gives him some right shit as well. Right at the start of the season, I remember specifically. Yes.
So there's that. But then Leicester said exactly the same about Justin as well. Oh no, he's no good. I can't believe we've got that money for. So we signed the pair of them for £15 million total. And I reckon you could double that if you chose to do something about that today. So, and they were both involved in the goals. So even nicer.
They were happy to receive Shackleton in an exchange for Bogle, even though it wasn't a direct exchange, but he went the other way as well. And it was like, oh yeah, we'll take him. Like, are you for real? That guy, Bogle is absolute fire. And I remember having conversations with some Sheffield United fans and said, is it by any chance, is it because Sheffield United was shit that he might not have performed well? You were getting battered every week. Is that maybe anything to do with it? Perhaps no, just the fact that he's shit and it's all his fault. But yeah, hey, let's go on to Dominic Calvert-Lewin's goal.
Yes,
and again, the vision from Gruev to just stop and kind of just stop space and time around him as well, because no one even he stopped the ball. Turned, went to kind of cross it, had a second thought because you could see Dom just moving slightly across the face of the goal, waited that maybe 2 seconds and just flicked it to inside at post and I mean, I've watched the interview back that Sky Sports had with DCL at the end of the game, and he says, how do you score a goal like that? Is it instinct? Is it just blind luck and faith? What do you do? And he said that, when you're on form, it's easier to make those sort of decisions. But apparently, he had scored a goal similar to that before. But he said because it was so low, it wasn't really a volley. It wasn't really a header because, of the angle. He just twisted his tits into it.
Throw a titty at it.
Throw a tit at it. And just fucking wonderful. I couldn't believe it, mate. I couldn't believe he'd scored that. Like, no fucking way. And giving it big X to frigging dickheads over in the stand as well.
Actually hitting the titty he'd scored it with.
Absolutely. Just
so do you think that Gruev's was a pass and not a shot?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's no way that would
have gone in. Sorry, it was on target. Keeper.
It would have gone on target, yeah.
It would have been on target.
There wasn't enough power generated there. Not enough power generated for that to be a shot. No, I'm not having that. Have you seen someone say it were a shot rather than a pass?
No, the commentator at the time said, can't work out if that's a pass or a shot.
Yeah, but these fucking Sky commentators are useless, aren't they?
No comment. I've been on recently.
Well, fucking hell. Sky nonce here.
So they've elevated themselves recently because I've been on.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, you're all a bunch of wankers, Sky. Fuck you. I'm not part of your analysis nonsense. Bollocks to that. Yeah, no, I don't rate Sky commentators usually. I do prefer to watch Bryn and stuff on the commentary for Leeds United and stuff if I'm ever watching highlights back.
Well, yeah. It's if you're watching listening on the international radio, kind of that sort of thing. You know what I mean? Sometimes you land on an opposition stream.
Macca 555555555 disagrees and said it was a shot. There's no way, as long as I have a hole in my fucking arsehole, that was a shot, my friend. He watched Calvert-Lewin make the run. He delayed his shot to do so. Watch it back. Educate yourself.
But yes, if you end up on international radio on an opposition stream, it's awful because of the bias. But obviously, Leeds United TV is not biased at all. So if you get on with Tony and co, then that's just enjoyable. They're not biased. They're just accurate.
Thank you, Dodo.
Go on, read it out for the audio.
Oh, sorry. Yes, sorry. There, I'm forgetting how audio based. Dodo has said, "You see DCL put his hand up, then run. Gruev holds, then pings it. He literally stops, holds as he sees DCL running across the face of goal, and then just pings it straight to him."
Steve Brown, there's something here that I missed, but you would have picked up on because the celebrations would have been in front of you, wouldn't they? DCL joined in with the woos towards Forest fans as well after scoring. Is that when it were being replayed on the screen?
Well, I think, yeah.
You get involved?
I don't know if he misjudged what we were actually going, because obviously we were going, and Calvert just looked, hey. Yes, get in. Well, let's turn to the screen. Let's go to the screen. So we can take piss out of these wankers. Yeah.
Okay, no, that's fair. Calvert-Lewin. So there were some Everton fans. There were a guy that had said, "I told you that Calvert-Lewin could do this. It's a shame that he's proving me right for somebody else and not for us. But I told you he could do this. All he needs is the ball's being fed to him." And there were some Leeds fans going, "Well, that's all he is. He's just a goal poacher." And I'm like, my head spun off at this point. I'm like, he's in an incredible run of form, the best potentially in his entire career at this point in time. But the reason it is so important to us is not just his goals. In fact, it sounds mad to say, and I'm stress testing this so you can tell me if I am mad for saying it. I think his importance to us is less about his goals and more about his play. His incredible aerial prowess, his ability to hold up the ball, the fact that he does occupy at least two defenders wherever he is in their back line. That's the bit that's really important to us, because if you bought somebody that was a pure goal poacher, we probably wouldn't be able to get up the pitch in the way that we do when we're so assured that he's going to win the ball in the air and there's going to be scraps to feed off around him and whatever. In fact, it's not even scraps. He's so good in the air, he can actually pick people out when he wins the ball in the air. So I think that his all-round game is probably 55% of the importance to us, and 45% is the goals. He's there to score goals and he's doing it, but he's incredible in the air, and he's really good at holding the ball.
No, he's not just incredible. He's absolutely fantastic in the air. Of a like I've never seen at Elland Road before. I mean, I'm not old enough to remember Lee Chapman and stuff like that, but
he's at that level.
You know, he's right up there, and you back him every single time. You know, there's no way he's getting that. No, he's actually either headed it or brought it down and he's laid it off, and that's the point. That single outlet when you're in trouble. If you look. You know, even to a couple of games at the start of this season when we were trying to play it out from the back. Look at Arsenal, prime example. It was just, we just didn't have that outlet. Going direct, it is a little bit dice ball, but it gets you out of the shit and gets you right up the field. And if you've got someone like Calvert-Lewin who has got the ability to be able to hold the ball up and wait for the players to come on so he can lay off, etc., is worth its weight in gold. And it's proved really, really effective for us this season.
Absolutely.
And I don't think it's gone unnoticed, but I think people just take it for granted. And I think if heaven forbid, should DCL get injured or whatever, I think we'll struggle and we'll find out. Absolutely. But
it's so important to us because not only. It's not just about that first ball and winning that, and then the second ball being something that somebody can get on. It's also what that means to the rest of the team, because you can be confident that he's going to win that, or at least make it so that he's occupying somebody and it's not just an easy clearance for them. It means the midfield and the defence can push up. So it's that he he wouldn't be as important to our overall play if all he was a poacher. It's incredible to me that anybody that's a Leeds fan or purports to be a Leeds fan thinks that all he is goals, because actually the rest of his game is probably more important in the way that we set up. And it's the rest of his game that allows us to get forward, that allows him to be the poacher that he is.
But that's. I mean, oh God, when you talk about the Leeds fan base, I mean, most normal people, those that you communicate with or have discussions with at the football per se, you know, say in the Peacock or whatever, are mostly quite rounded, normal individuals. You know, they come to the games, they watch, they see. They don't look at everything through a little square box where a camera is following a football. You know, and I think, you know, for the benefit of people that go to the games, you see more than the average, you know, television fan. You know, I'm not slating people, but you know, those that go to the games will see a much broader picture of what actually happens, the way that we set up the formations, etc., and actually see how the team works and moves around rather than just watching a camera, watching a ball. Yeah. You know, and I think you know, and that's it. You know, obviously, some of the fan base is just fucking they blow my mind, especially when you go on like social media.
And it was on Twitter, to be fair, which I'm still going to call it.
Twatter.
Yeah,
you know, these some of these idiots who are just, you know, 10p bloody dickheads that just run the mouths. They don't have a fucking clue, do they? You know, and sometimes you have to entertain them. Sometimes you just go, yeah, I see you got a point. But sometimes it's just absolutely abhorrent bullshit. Well,
the guy I'm actually referencing actually called him a lower league striker.
Right. Okay. So, but there you go.
All you need to know.
Listen, you're never gonna please everyone unless you're signing Thierry Henry. You know, people are always gonna, you know.
Our fan base had bombed Thierry Henry out because he wasn't a star striker in the first season. He took about 18 months to really get going. We'd bombed him out. Wouldn't have had it.
But then again, we did stick with Paddy Bamford for a few more years, more than we should have done.
Got us promoted.
So we had scarred. He did. Not really the second time. I'm not having a second time.
17 goals in the Premier League. Come on.
I thought you said promotion to the Premier League.
No, yeah, he got his promotion into 9th in the Premier League.
Absolutely, yeah. Wonderful season.
Did really well. He was broken, wasn't he?
Dropped off a cliff. Just absolutely dropped off a cliff. Yeah. Let's fly through a couple of these sad comments.
Yeah.
Before we continue. Danny Rumsey says, "What about Leif Davis doing the binoculars sign after the squad for Ipswich against Derby?"
I put that in every single WhatsApp group chat I'm a member of.
Did you mean to say Ipstick? Ipstick. Is that a play on Bielsa? Is it?
It's the
Ipsbitch.
Yeah.
Ipsbitch. Ipsbitch. Yeah, I did see that. It was class. Gomez Gang. Sorry. Could you see Leeds, Forest, and West Ham overtake Palace and Spurs in the relegation fight?
I would love that. I mean, Palace are an absolute bin fire, but Spurs are a joke. How Thomas Frank is still in a job, I actually don't know. People scoff at me when I say Spurs are in this. Now, Spurs were the worst club in the Premier League last season not to get relegated.
Yes.
And Scum were only
with
just
all
ahead
their
of them.
Superstars.
Yeah, and Scum were only just ahead of them. Now, Scum have got rid of their gaffer, which is a big shame because I thought he was doing a really masterful job. And they've turned it around, which is a shame. But Spurs haven't. And they've spent vast sums of money, again, and they're shit still. And it's incredible to me that he's still in a job, but long may that continue. Because he's doing the job that I thought Keith Andrews are going to do this season.
Keith.
And there is a London club that's in the shit. And I'm not having it anymore that people laughing when I'm saying that Palace are dropping like a stone. They haven't won in months. And Spurs are in it as well. Now, if somebody's going to tell us that Leeds is still in the relegation fight, well, they are as well, because they're joint on points with us. Yeah. I know Palace play today, so they've got a game in hand, but it's against Brighton. And that's supposedly their derby. It's 83 miles apart or whatever it is, and I think it's only because Palace fans are scared of Millwall, so they didn't want to have any of that smoke. There's a little bit of stand-up somewhere that a guy said, I'm sure what it is they looked at Millwall and went, don't fancy any of that. But I tell you what, if we go down this motorway here for 80 miles, we can have a dust-up with 20,000 liberal bisexual. It's like, well, fine, whatever. Not my words. Okay. I'm quoting somebody else.
Well, it's true.
But there's no gimmies in that because, like I say, Palace are a bin fire. And if Brighton are up for that, then by rights they should.
But Brighton aren't massively doing much better.
They're not in great nick at the minute, but
Same amount of games as us.
Milner will be on for beating Gareth Barry's appearance record as well. So fair play to him. It's some going. So I think Palace are in it because otherwise they won't be joint on points with us, and that means that Spurs are now we're 10 goals behind them in terms of the goal difference, but. People think West Ham are going to catch us. West Ham had so many points behind us and the 10 goals behind us. It's like, well, if there's a potential for West Ham to catch us, but we're only 10 goals behind Spurs. We're on the same points. Surely you've
got to apply the same logic, haven't you? Yeah, you've got to apply the same fundamentals.
Now, it is difficult because you look at the run of our next 3 fixtures and you can see a run there of not picking up points, not getting many points at least. We're in decent nick. But, we're going away at Chelsea and they're definitely going to feel like that they owe us one after the fucking tearing apart we did of them at Elland Road. But so, it's going to be quite difficult. But at the same time, they have to be in the conversation if we are.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree. We've sucked a few other teams into this I mean, it's one of them because some teams are going slightly that way and then other teams are coming slightly down. Like you say, your Palaces and your Spurs. I don't think West Ham will be relegated. I think they've started to turn a corner. I do have a graphic of the actual league. It is what it is. But I don't give a frig about Forest either. It's cut bloody 20th off. Oh, it's because I've got a comment on. That's why.
Yeah.
Thank you. So you look at that bottom 3. I mean, Burnley, Wolves. I think everyone's pretty much certain that they're down. They're absolutely gone. They've got
Burnley
no chance.
Front toweling and Wolves did ages ago.
I'm surprised Scott Parker hasn't been sacked. The old Berardi.
I think so. I'm going to ring the bell, the fanalist bell. Bing. There's a Burnley fan in there, and he's absolutely adamant that Scott Parker will be gone. And I said, but surely there's no value to that now because he's your best chance of getting up next season.
Exactly.
And he said it's too toxic. Turf Moor was just too toxic. And he's going to get lynched. He's not going to survive to the end of the season. So he thinks that fan power might force a position, and I'm like, that might put you at risk next season. Then, but I can't see them bringing in somebody that's going to make any difference at all. The people that you're looking at, it's Dyche you're looking at to come in and do that job. Well, he's doing that job. He's trying to do that job somewhere else.
Yeah, get Big Sam in. Get Allardyce in. But only with 4 games. You're only out 4 games right end of the season.
You're not allowed to win any.
No, I mean when you look at Burnley, I mean Wolves have been just tragic. We don't really need to even speak about Wolves. They've just absolutely just utter capitulation in it.
Yeah.
But Burnley, when I'm looking at
Derby's record.
Yeah, they are. It's close. What is it? 11 points. Derby's record.
Yeah.
11 won it. Oh, it's tight.
Wolves have only won 1 all season, and they've played 25.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully they do. It'd be nice for them to. I don't know. Actually, I think I'd rather keep it with Derby because I hate Derby more. Fuck Derby. I hate Derby.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So hopefully Wolves get 12 points or 13, like Huddersfield Town, sort of. them sort of points.
Circling the drain anyway, but leave
gurgling round the old plug hole.
Yeah,
but I think when we were looking at Burnley last season in the Championship, people, especially their fans, a couple of lads, pretty sound fan base actually. They're not arseholes really, Burnley. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are arseholes in every fan base, absolutely. But I think on the whole, most Burnley fans are actually pretty down to earth and are quite humble, and they're not like Sunderland fans who think they should be playing frigging European football all the time. They know they are. And
there's that in between as well, isn't there? It's always nice. When people ask me, "Do I like football?" Yeah, I like football, but not Burnley. Fuck Burnley.
Fuck Burnley. I think when I was looking at how they were playing, they were so smash and grab, very very defensive, really really strong defensively, but they didn't have a right lot going from an attacking. They might get a set piece or they might score 1 or 2 goals here, but from a completely contrast that with Leeds United, who were out and out attacking, fucking pants to the fucking floor. Let's go all the way. Yeah, we'll lose some, but most of the time, we're pulling in some big results. Hammering teams 4-5-0, 7-0 in the case of Cardiff. Burnley didn't do that. And I was saying to some of them, I said, you're really going to struggle next year because this is not your DNA now. Your DNA is to defend. And you aren't going to be able to do that in the Premier League. That's just not going to fly in the Premier League. You have to completely either change your style, which I don't think Scott Parker is capable of doing so. And they haven't. And they've completely capitulated. They're absolutely shit. We lost to them.
It's incredible, isn't it?
It's just crazy. But, you know, I'm really looking forward to them coming to Ellen Road because I think we will absolutely properly thump them. Good and proper.
I hope you don't jinx that. But yeah, you cannot see Wolves and Burnley doing anything between now and the end of the season. I think you're right with Wolves, with West Ham, sorry. And West Ham have won 3 in the last 5.
Yeah, exactly.
And some of them scored in all of their last 5 games. You know, if you've got somebody scoring, Bowen's good. You know, they've got something. They've made a difference. You know, they've gone into the market in winter. The season's not working out for them. They've made a change in bringing Nuno in, who I think is a good manager. And they've brought in Tati, they've brought in Pablo, and they've got Somerville playing, and they've got Bowen on the other side. So in terms of attack, even Fernandes played pretty well yesterday. In terms of attack, they're looking pretty good. I think the one thing I would say is Forest have only won 2 in the last 5. Spurs and Palace haven't won any of theirs. They are dropping like stones, those 2 clubs, and they could very well do Forest or West Ham, ourselves even, a very, very big favour by continuing that run to the end of the season because they are very definitely in this.
No, I totally agree.
You have to have goals. You've got to carry a threat.
Yeah, you've got to do.
West Ham
you've got to have
that.
something. Yeah, you've got to have something. And to be fair, it would only a matter of time. I mean, frigging hell, I can't scroll to the top of the league because it's a chopping picture. But, you know, there are other teams that are up there that have had a shaky start. Look at Villa. You know, Villa, you know, at the start of the season, they were looking too sharp, and then they've got right up there. There's a couple
Didn't
of
score
teams.
a goal for 4 games.
Mental, innit? You know, and look at them now. You know, they're right up there. You know, so it does take a little bit of settling in time or whatever, but from the outset, you know, those sort of teams. And luckily, but I mean, when we were in the Premier League last time, Newcastle had the great escape, didn't they? You know, they got Howe in, and that were it. Away they went, and fair play. But they invested well. They brought in some good established players, some leaders, and then, you know, just away they went. And look at them now. Correct.
Yeah, Everton have done the same, haven't they? Everton have brought Moyes back in. Yeah. And you know, they would have been banging this had they not made changes.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And you know, they're quite comfortably mid-table now.
You've got someone with an identity, though. I mean, West Ham got rid of frigging Moyes. Yeah. You know, they will be absolutely kicking themselves. You know, they were playing frigging Europe. They were in Europe. They booted him out at door. He's gone somewhere else. He's gone to Everton. He has a style. He has an identity. It's not the most, you know, swashbuckling football. It's not, you know, glitz and glamour, but it's effective and it works. And sometimes you just need a period of stability to be able to just, you know, grind it out, you know, get some money, generate some money to get some players in or whatever, and establish yourself. Yeah. And, you know, I think sometimes, you know, that's what teams that are obviously at the lower end of the league, you know, suffer with, because owners have an itchy trigger finger. And if you're down there, if you're gurgling, you're not going to give a manager an opportunity, even if they deserve to. It's like, look at Farke. You know, so many people, us included, at a point, you know, just pre-Man City, we're thinking, right, this guy needs to go. Yeah, Thomas Frank's probably going to get sacked from Spurs. We should get him. You know, there's so many other options. People were going mental with some of their opinions, etc. Because you don't want to go through another relegation. You want to fight to stay in the league. And these owners, you know what they're like. I mean, Forest have had 3 freaking different managers this season. And you know, there's rumours that Dyche is for the wall as well now. Yeah. But that's Marinakis for you. He's mad. But so you are right, and I think that anybody that there were a lot of people that were Farke out right throughout. Bryn were for him right from the start, and still might still be. I'm not sure now, but even on here, me, you, Jay, we were all we're Farking. Luke, we're Farking. We all wobbled in that run up to that Man City game, and looking at the run that we'd had and looking at the run that were coming. You know, we had Man City, we had Villa, we had Liverpool twice, we had Chelsea. You're thinking, we could get no points here in the run through to the middle of December, and then you're straight into that Christmas period that's so important because there's so many games that all come in thick and fast. It's like, surely we make a change now because it's clearly not working.
Well, he did make a change. We didn't need to make the coaching change because he changed. At half time at Man City happened. We got back to 2-2. They poxed a goal at the death, but we've never looked back from there. And I think that it's a huge testament to Farke in his ability to actually manage the squad, which a lot of people were doubting. Let's be fair. So I think some of us that had become Farke out during that period were reluctantly that. It looks like it's not working. Something needs to change. Something did change, and it just didn't have to be him, and he's managed well from there.
I think some credit needs to be put Longstaff and Dominic Calvert-Lewin and a few of the senior squad's way as well. From the discussions or from things that we've heard, Ari, the discussions that they had at half time, Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Longstaff saying, we can beat these lot. They're not unbeatable. We can go toe to toe with them. Stop giving them so much respect. Et cetera, and bolster them up. And we haven't looked back since. Yeah, and this is one of the things that really used to grind my gears back in the other season when we weren't signing Premier League proven players, those that know the league, the established leaders, your Longstaffs, your Calvert-Lewins. I mean, we had Cooper and a few other senior members of the squad, but not proper grizzled Premier League bastards that you just absolutely 100% need, especially when you're going to be grinding out at bottom of Premier League. You need those leaders, you need those people with calm heads, and that bringing them people in has saved our season. And then both those players standing up and said, "This is what we need to do. Believe in ourselves, etc." And we, like I said, we haven't looked back since. And I think a lot of credit has to go towards them as well.
Agreed.
So anyway, thank you, Gomez, for your comment that we've rattled on for about half an hour with. Let me just remove this table, and we'll go back to the start comments. J Nickel has Smarty ever been seen without a brew? No, I don't think so.
No, I agreed. It's been 6 years now. No, it hasn't.
No, I mean, back in the old days, Series 1, maybe Series 2, I did used to join in with the boys and have a beer.
Yeah, but
I've always had a beverage.
You brew it?
Well, yes. I think he means the hot beverage type. But yes, this morning it's a coffee, but usually it's a good old... In fact, I've got it in my Yeti cup as well to keep it warm. No, we're not sponsored by Yeti. But normally I've got my OKB cup, which you can buy if you click the old QR code. Normally I'm rocking that. So you're right, mate. I will never be out without a brew. In fact, if I could have it in a fucking, what is it called? Catheter. I would have... No, not a catheter.
That's intravenous drip.
That's the one. I'd have it on a drip, not a catheter. That's the other way around.
I mean, if you're pumping it into there, you're going to have issues.
I mean, it technically is tea when it comes out as well, but it's weird. Lee Pryor, Forest weren't up for the battle. We were first the majority of things. Gabby's marker left him out in acres all game. Great performance against our rivals. Absolutely. Yeah, totally agree. Mark Barlow. This Gary's brother. I think we say this every time we see Mark Barlow pop up on here. If DCL goes to the World Cup and plays, we get 30 to 40 odd million offer in the summer. Would you sell?
Nope.
Absolutely not.
Nope. I don't give a shit about the money. It's not going in my pocket. No, because you don't replace him. Not at this level. How do you replace him with 30 to 40 million?
I don't know. The thing is, right, and even if you did replace someone at 30 to 40 million that we were looking at, Strand Larsen for a prime example, it could be shit. Yeah, you could buy a foreigner. You're probably not going to buy another English or a decent English striker for that kind of money because really, who's out there?
Yeah,
who's out there?
The English tax, 30 to 40 million. I don't think it's enough for him. So which is incredible to say we got him for nothing.
Well, that's what I mean. So ideally, you'd want an English striker because you take a gamble with foreign players. They might do well in Bundesliga or La Liga, etc., Serie A, but coming to the Premier League is a completely different ballgame, and it's an absolute gamble. How many foreign players that have been superstars in foreign leagues have come to the Premier League and just absolutely done nothing?
Yeah.
So many players.
Look at how many players some have had.
So would you really want to risk losing that sort of player?
No, absolutely not. I think, like I was saying before, he does so much to allow us to set up our approach to the game that it's that's as important and as crucial as his goals, which is incredible to say that he's in double figures already.
Mr. Dodo says, I swear if you jinx it, Smart, I'll put a curse on you and have Legos in your shoes for the next 15 years. I think...
we're not American, though. We don't say Legos. in England, we say Lego. Americans
Where is
say
Dodo
Legos.
from?
I don't know. He could be American, to be fair.
I mean, is he from the Australasia area, Mr. Dodo? I don't think he's English. Yeah, I don't. Hey, we're not xenophobes. If you are from the Australasia, then welcome.
Welcome along.
Welcome along.
It's from Leeds.
Paul says, "Is it? I'm from Norway." Oh, fair dues. Paul says Dominic and Sean Longstaff are the most experienced Premier League players. It's too early, man. And our most experienced players, and for me, our most important signings of the season. I absolutely agree. I think up there with Gabs. We have made some good, and to be fair, Underwood has been getting some right hammer, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He has been getting some right hammer, even up to now. Obviously, with the transfer window gone in January, etc., just getting Buonanotte in and not looking to strengthen everywhere else, which is a gamble. It is a risk, but to be fair, the players that he's brought in have been bloody good, and we've saved an absolute fortune, fortune. You look to sell those players now, the purchase price versus against what the selling price now, especially bloody your mate Aronson, friggin' hell, it'd be worth a pretty packet, wouldn't he, now as well?
I don't think we'd get more than we paid for him, mind.
Probably not, but, people were saying that he wasn't worth a friggin' toffee crisp and a packet of truffy quavers. I think he's certainly more than made up for that. Oh, I don't know.
Stack had bring in a pretty penny now because he should, not only has he shown that he can do it, but he's also got the ability on set pieces, which is absolutely required, certainly this season. But really, Stack could definitely carry a lot more than we paid for him. So
yeah,
we have done some good moves to get. I mean, Mecha, unfortunately, the concerns around Mecha's fitness and injury record seem to be valid, which is a big shame because he's done well for us when he's come on. But to get the pair of them for nothing at all is just incredible. And if you said to anybody, you can sign a striker for a Premier League season on a free, quite young, and they're going to get you 7 or 8. He might end up with 7 or 8 goals by the end of the season. He's already at 5. So
yes, 5,
that would bear itself out if he gets to play, which I think he will if he's fit. You're in that position where a lot of clubs would sign him just on principle of that. So it's very, very good work, and Longstaff coming in and bringing that experience with him, but still, he's not. Carl would have him melting down for glue, but he's not over the hill by any stretch. So bringing in those players, it's been very, very important for our season.
Yeah,
Gabby.
First quality left back for a long time. Yeah, I agree. It's been a long, long time since we've had a really, really good left back. I mean, yes, people will direct you towards Firpo, but I think the context of where they came from. We signed him from Barcelona. They were absolutely shocking in the Premier League. Granted, he had injuries and illnesses, etc., under Bielsa and the other 90,000 managers we had during that period. He should be doing well at Championship level. Those sort of players should be doing well at Championship level. So it's one of them. Bit of a cheeky caveat there. Gomez is back, says Leeds potentially have 2 England World Cup squad players, Bogle and Calvert-Lewin. Bogle upped his game last season. Bogle upped his game season on season. When was the last time Leeds had 2 potential England players?
You're going back some. I mean, we had Paddy that got 1 cap.
We got Paddy and Calvin Phillips who played, but before that, it's a long time, isn't it?
It is. So, it's a fair point. However, there is such an embarrassment of Richards at right back. I don't think he'll even be in the conversation, which is a shame because I think he's playing really well. But there are so many fullbacks that are eligible to play for England that he's probably not even in the conversation. Absolutely, DCL needs to be. I think there's only really 4 choices, and he's one of them. Top scoring Englishman.
Yeah, and it's a shame. I remember the people having the conversation about Ayling.
Yeah.
Ayling were being, I think it would have been a hell of a chuffing reach, but people were having the conversation about Luke Ayling going, and being involved in some sort of capacity with the England squad, which at the time, especially in his first season back in the Premier League under Bielsa, it would absolutely fly him with a lad.
It was. absolutely was.
But
yeah,
you know,
definitely.
you can never dismiss it, I suppose. Last starred message. Leeds United Unfiltered says thoughts on Leicester points deduction, guys.
Funny as fuck, innit?
I think it's absolutely hilarious. I've been smiling like a frigging Cheshire cat. I have. Grinning away. I mean, some of the receipts I had for last season and season before on Southampton, Leicester, and Ipswich have just, you know, if you had value, if they were worth money, they'd be worth a frigging fortune. I would be a very, very rich man, is all I would say. You know, some of the stuff, well, some of the receipts, but some of the absolute frigging. Oh, I can't. Is it Leicester Till I Die? That guy who talks about wanking a lot.
Yes.
The old masturbation, you know him. He's funny. The absolute mental breakdown that he has week on week now after calling us this, that, and the other. And some of the videos from their promotion parties, etc., and the awards evenings from Leicester going round again. You know, people are picking up on and stuff like that, and firing straight into them, chuffing into the comments and stuff. It's just brilliant, isn't it? I mean, hopefully we don't get relegated because, you know, there is still a conversation. You know, it could all absolutely go tits up here. Let's not, you know, get too ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, but enjoy it while it's happening.
But yeah, because at the end of the day, you know, why not? Fuck 'em.
That's what it's about, isn't it?
Get fired into them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, football is a cyclical game, and especially as Leeds fans, we know the song says it, ups and downs. So while you're in the ups, fucking enjoy it. Go and take the piss. And if they come back at you with some receipts further down the line, fair play, fine, don't care. Enjoy it while it happens, because it doesn't happen all the time. We're right good at minute, and we're on a good run of form, and we've just spanked somebody. 3-1 flattered Forest, I thought. So, you know, we just spanked somebody that were looking to beat us. West Ham fans talked about Leeds are the ones to catch because they're the weakest team in this running. So they're the ones that we need to catch and all of that sort of stuff. It's all bullshit. So no, just enjoy it. Absolutely enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. Man of the match then from the game.
So I'm aware of who won it, and I'm absolutely not against who won it. But given certainly my take on the lineup, given the way that the game panned out, and given the impact that he was able to have on it,
I'm going to blind you all for a second. Sorry, there you go. Has that made it any worse? Don't know.
I'm going Gruev on this one. I thought he had a very good game, and you know that stat from Johnny Cooper is incredible. Only three players to have done that since 2002, were it 2003? It's just incredible.
It is incredible, and an absolute sterling performance amongst many. You know, I'll say that. It's just nice that, you know, that they didn't just fold in on each other, that they still pressed on, that they still believe, especially after getting hammered at home to Arsenal. You know, because that could have been a real turning point for us. But the fact that we've kept on, just sticking to the game plan. You know, many of the players said that in the post-match interviews. They all said, you know, we know what we need to do. We just need to stick to the game plan. We believe in each other. It's a good group. We just crack on. And, you know, with all the noise, etc., from the other teams and some teams going down, and they're definitely in the race now. We just need to stay in our lane. We need to just chip away at these results, because you are back to the previous season under Bielsa, in the last sort of like quarter, maybe third, where, you know, we were looking like we were still in the mix for relegation. All of a sudden, we just started churning, we just started grinding, getting these results under the belt and stuff like that. And, you know, but before we knew it, we were up in frigging top half at table, knocking on the door of the frigging, you know, of Europe, which was incredible. I don't believe that's going to happen. I don't believe that is going to happen, looking at our run, etc. But, you know, we just need to stay in our lane. Just keep grinding, keep getting the performances, keep playing well at home, especially, and we should be fine. We should be fine.
Yeah,
touch wood.
And just the other thing to mention, because I'm saying Gruev, is absolutely fucking ludicrous refereeing to leave him down for so long. I mean, it's not even like it were just a little bit of a knock. I mean, he was bleeding on the pitch, and you know, so one. Fucking ref can have it, yeah, twat. 2, for Gruev to get up from that, change his shirt and just crack on. Fucking fair play. Yeah, I'm having that. I loved that.
What's going on with this pissing sunshine? It's sunny in Yorkshire all of a sudden. I feel like Noah's Ark up here, you know. Been pissing it down for the last Christ knows how long, and now it's chuffing playing hell with my camera. So yeah, I agree. I think Gruev for me, definitely. There's a couple of shouts for some other players, etc. But Okafor's probably up there. But Gruev,
Bogle got it. I've absolutely no issues Bogle getting it. I thought he played really well. But given the position that he plays in, given that stat, the 2 assists, for me, Gruev.
Yeah, absolutely. Last one then before we leave for the day. Gomez is back and said, do you think that there could be a breakthrough game for Okafor? He certainly upped his game in the Forest game. I think he's very hot and cold, depending on how Fark's deploying him, per game. I think when he's actually playing on the wing, he's very effective. But if you're having him running off DCL in more of a central role, or even having him as the striker, I don't think he will be as effective. He likes width. He likes to get past players. I think he gets a little bit lost in the middle. So for me, I think it depends where he's played and how he's used.
Agreed, and how the opposition sets up against him, because if they stand off him, he's going to have a lot of joy in the game. But I also thought that he did incredibly well in the battle as well. He wasn't all just creativity. He was picking the ball up deep. He was popping it to 2-3 players, taking it back, running it from deep. And so it wasn't just the output of a pure winger. He was also doing that job deeper that we absolutely need him to do, because we get that from Arrington. We know we get that from Arrington. He's going to work hard. On the other side, if you look at Somerville, you look at Nonto, and now Okafor, a lot of people saying they don't do the work that we need on the other side, and he absolutely did. So I think, he played really well. And there were a couple of times. So I don't know if you remember, it were around on the hour. Okafor took a booking because of a bit. It wasn't a naughty one, but it was slightly late, and it did stop them building an attack. And he was worth a booking, and it was one of those where you take that. And we absolutely needed him to do that as well. So he's got that. So that was a big deal at that point in the game. And I know that we took him off not so long after, but a minute later, their lad Tangari did entirely the opposite. And because we were pinging it around and they couldn't get near us, he got frustrated and absolutely walloped Arrington. And I thought he were a little bit lucky not to get sent for that.
It was a bad challenge. It was a bad challenge. That I liked Arrington getting stuck into a few players. Actually, it looks like bloody the film Kes when they're all playing around in mud and stuff, and they all look absolutely black bright.
Yeah,
he was absolutely covered in head to toe in bloody mud and grass and stuff. He battled his ass off, did lad. Not one of his best games, but still, and I know you're not his greatest fan, but it's just nice to see that he's still being effective, and he puts, his work ethic, Jesus Christ, he's just off scale, pressing, constantly pressing. One last thing, were you surprised that Buonanotte was excluded from the bench?
I was a little. I think if you think of the amount of football played, potentially not. Because he's got a lot of work to do to get up to speed, because he wasn't even making the match day squads at Chelsea, so he's got a long way to come back. And I think if you look at when he has come on for us, it would kind of the ball went past him and he kind of just stood there and shrugged. And it's like, nah, mate, you're gonna have to put in a lot more than that. We know he's got quality, we've seen it, but it was a little bit of a surprise to me, but. When you're thinking, well, the person that's coming back in is Dan James. All right, he's been injured as well, but he's played a significant portion of the season in comparison. So if you just look at the amount of minutes they've had over the course of the season, maybe it's slightly less surprising. But yeah, I think to be fair, it's and I think there were also comments about I've just gone on who trained best. Well,
there is that. I mean, but there's
message in it.
I mean, what. With the obviously the information and stuff that Fark has before, obviously they'll the information that's fed to them from their digital technical wizards at the club or whatever, the information that I'm guessing he would have received was or how to set up against Nottingham Forest. You would have assumed, and they did to a degree, set up quite defensively. He might not know what Buonanotte's best place to his best position to play him. He's coming in on the back of Adel playing any minutes for Chelsea. He's not established himself within the team, etc., etc. He doesn't know his strengths to a degree yet. I think we just need to give him a little bit more time. You know, if it would have been Bielsa signing, we wouldn't have even seen him for a frigging 2 months because he'd been playing with under 21s. You know, and no one used to bat an eyelid because that's just his method. And I think people overlook that a lot of times. That Fark will obviously have to, you know, sit down with him and say, listen, this is what I want you to work on. This is where I see you playing. This is what I see you doing for us. When you've got Dan James, someone that can, you know, bust a gut in and fire down the right-hand side or use his pace to attack players, he knows his game. Dan James is one of our best players from last season. You know, he knows exactly what he needs to do. He knows what, you know, and Fark knows exactly what Dan James is all about and stuff. So I think we just need to just calm down a little bit on that. I'm pretty certain we'll see him in the not in the squad, but certainly on the bench in the next few weeks. Especially against teams like Chelsea, who are going to be a lot more open.
Yes, but I'd actually forgotten to mention it when we talked about Gruev. I don't know if you've seen Farker's comments on Gruev, but basically he said he was a cross between Stoichkov and Mateus, which is some doing. But yeah, I think it's that it's the way that we set up. It depends because we needed the game that we got from Okafor because we didn't have Anton Stack, and I don't think Okafor plays if Stack was available in that game. But he did do well. But yeah, you know, for me, Farker's managing that perfectly because he's come out and said, I've picked the people that have trained the best, which then should result in everybody elevating their game in training because they all want to play. They all want to. You don't get to this level without just wanting to play football. Buonanotti's moved from Chelsea because he wasn't getting a game, so he's going to be desperate to get a game. And if that's the point, and it's the work and the hard yards that they're putting behind the scenes at Thorpe Arch and whatever else. Yeah, crack on. Raise your game.
I think one of his justifications for Gruev starting was the fact that he looked incredibly sharp during training. So clearly he is watching the lads. He's, you know, listening to them as well, and he likes what he sees. And Gruev, as we saw, you know, on Friday night, he's got a good performance in him. Yeah. You know, I wouldn't liken him to you know, Pablo, etc., but he has got some good vision and he's very organised. He's Gruev, and he's like I said, we've done it to death on this show, but you know, he's gets a lot of hidden praise. But anyway, we have been rambling on this morning for a good hour and 10 minutes. We will be back during the week. I think it's Carl. In fact, is it me? No, it's not us.
Well, we've got one Tuesday night, haven't we? So we'll be moving things around, and
yes,
there might be a late pod, a main pod.
They'll be moved around, but I think it's Luke, myself, and Carl for the main show. There is lots of shit takes to be added into next week's show. I've already seen the account is fucking red hot, as we say. But yeah, so that'll be one to tune into in the middle of the week whenever we do. But obviously, keep your eyes on the socials and stuff. And if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do. Just so Gilly can just watch people from his laptop, because that's what he likes. A bit of a nerd. Oh, we've got more subscribers. So yes, anyway, thank you everyone. Welcome to your Sunday session, our little aggro session that we have. It's a little bit earlier than normal. You can probably tell because I can't get my words out, but Gilly seems to be okay. Thank you very much for joining us. Again, we'll be back through the midweek, so keep your eyes out for that. But until then, enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll catch you later. Cheers.
It's all to know better. We all to know much better than letting Carl go on with Jay. Luke's calling out bad weathers, and Smarty is no better, and Gilly gets fan mail again. But every time we go live,
shit take has been
can't speak or even tell the time.
It's Moratoy's out the pram.
It's all
if I see his mother
we
in the stands,
much better.
I'm
this
gonna
ends
crack
show for tonight. And if you like these weapons and you don't think that balance, please go check out our merch site. Good night.
Little tosser, and I hate him. He's shit. He's average, and he's a shit house.